Hey, what's up, guys? It's Nine coming back once again with another operator guide this time. If you guys have followed me for a while, you know that I make a couple of Overwatch hero guides, but I've actually never made an operator guide for Rainbow Six Siege. And I put a good amount of work into this one, so I hope you guys really enjoy it. Let's not waste any more time. Here's my Melusi guide.
Oh my god! Oh! Talk
So let's kind of talk about like Melusi's role within a team. So Melusi is a tree speed defender, which automatically makes her one of the best roamers in the game. And her gadget is super helpful in assisting in these roams. You know, you can work off the sound cues to tell where the attackers are pushing from. I usually like to put my Banshees in like high traffic areas that are close to site, but not directly on site. That way my teammates on site can tell when the attackers are pushing in close to site, and I can tell when it's my time to push into them by working off the sound cues. I can tell when I need to swing, go for that gunfight, and it's super helpful in that way. I think Melusi is very strong in like more of a shallow roam type style where you're playing just off site but not way too far, because you want to be able to work off those Banshees as well. And if you have your Banshees like the room next to the site, it's better that you play, you know, also near that room where both your teammates on site can benefit from the Banshees and you as well. And when it comes to the loadout, Melusi has like a really solid loadout with her MP5. It's just a pretty solid SMG for small to medium range engagements. And when it comes to like your preferences in terms of attachments and such, it really is just your preferences. But for me personally, I like to go for hollow with a flash hinder and definitely angle grip. I feel like angle grip is pretty necessary on Melusi. You know, as a roamer, you're going to be taking gunfights more often than if you're to play, let's say, an anchor on site. So taking an angle grip is always more beneficial because, you know, you'll be able to take those gunfight engagements a lot faster. Getting off that first bullet because you're ADS faster is often the difference between life and death, so always take angle grip. And in terms of secondary, you have a pretty good amount of choices. You can go between impacts or C4s. I take impacts 90% of the time just because I can't trust my teammates to make accurate rotates. So I'll usually take my impacts, make some rotates on site, make some rotates on the roam if the site is set up properly. But if your teammates can make the accurate rotations that are necessary, then take the C4. The C4 always gives you good kill potential, and it's better than the impacts late round because of how good it is at denying plants. And then when it comes to your secondary, you know, you got that RG15 handgun, which is the same handgun Ella and Zofia uses, and is just definitely one of the best, if not the best, secondary handgun in the game. So yeah, super solid loadout. Now, when it comes to counters to Melusi, that's definitely going to be, you know, the Ashe and Zofia, because both of their gadgets can take out your Banshees, and also any of the attackers who know how to properly use frag grenades can also use those to take out your Banshees. So it's always a really good idea to coordinate with either your Jaeger or Wamai to set their ADSs or magnets in certain spots that can protect your Banshees, because your Banshees are very powerful utility. You want to keep them up as long as possible throughout a round. So if you're gonna be like, hey Jaeger, please use your ADS here, or hey Wamai, can you try and set up some magnets so my Banshee can stay up longer, that's always a really good idea. It's gonna delay the attackers from taking out that Banshee for a while, so you definitely want to always be doing that, coordinating with your teammates to keep those things as long up as possible. So when the round starts as Melusi, it's obviously very important that you get your Banshees down in very powerful positions. You know, Melusi has what you can call a set it and forget it gadget. You know, once you place it down, you don't have to worry about it anymore, similar to something like Jaeger's ADSs. But of course, you want to be smart on where you place these Banshees. So that's why I say you want to put them in high traffic areas, places you know the attackers like to push from, very powerful staircases that you want to deny the attackers from pushing. You know, that could be like yellow stairs on Consulate, red stairs on villa, areas like this, server room on bank, just these high traffic areas that the attackers typically tend to funnel in through. And you also want to set yourself up for a shallow roam. You're gonna go to a room where you expect attackers to be pushing from. You're gonna get on those cams. You're gonna see what cameras they take out so you can get an idea of where they're pushing from. You tell your teammates, hey, I think they're coming from this side, get ready for a push, and that way. And you definitely want to be looking to play time with Melusi. It's really important that you use your banshees to maximum effect. That means not taking gunfights when you don't need to. Just use that banshee because it'll slow down the attackers, so you'll always have the upper hand over attackers when you're taking the gunfights, as long as they're in the range of your banshee. You don't need to be over aggressive, you don't need to be over eager just because you're that roamer. You want to be smart, burn time on the roam, and play for gunfights when you have the advantage. So in terms of tips and tricks, there are a couple of things you can do with your banshees. Obviously, you want to be putting your banshees in very difficult to destroy spots. Basically, you want to put it in spots where it won't be easily taken out, by that Ashe or Zofia, from a window. You don't want to put it in easy lines of sight where they can just easily take it out. Obviously, like I said before, you want to be coordinating with that Jaeger and Wamai to keep it up for as long as possible. But eventually, they will be able to take it out because anybody can just melee it. So even when it comes to that point, there are a couple of different things you can do to make it hard to melee. That would typically involve putting it in some sort of elevation where the attackers will have to either get up on a table, on a desk or something to melee it, and that could be super frustrating for the attackers because they'll have to expose their body. They're gonna waste a lot of time, and if you're playing a smart defense, you can take really strong advantage of that. There are a couple of other spots on the map where you can place the banshee, then you can open the hatch from below, and it makes it impossible for the attackers to melee that banshee. Just makes it even more difficult to get rid of. And another thing you want to be thinking of doing is not swing immediately when you hear the audio from the banshee. A lot of people, when they're playing Melusi, as soon as they hear that wub 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 wub, they want to swing on the attacker with their MP5. Now, this is not necessarily a terrible idea, but usually if the attackers are smart, once they hit that Melusi Banshee range, they're going to be ADSing, they're going to be looking for defenders to swing on them, and they're going to be ready for you. So if you wait like, I don't know, maybe 1 or 2 seconds before you swing on them, the attackers might not necessarily be expecting it, because they might say, okay, the coast is clear, I'm going to try and melee for this, and right as they go for that, that's when you want to swing on them. You don't want to swing as you hear the audio. You want to give it like 2-3 seconds, when that Zofia is pulling up her launcher to destroy it. That's when you want to swing on her. So that'll be usually a couple of seconds. You don't want to be swinging on too early. When it comes to common mistakes I see with a lot of Melusi players, it's usually not using their banshees to maximum effect. Like, the whole point of Siege is using your gadgets to set you up for advantageous gunfights. So you want to be using your banshee as best as possible before you swing on the enemies. You don't want to be taking the gunfight, before they're in the range. You want to wait until they're in range so that they ADS slower, because the banshee doesn't just physically slow down their character, but it also slows down their ADS time, giving you a huge advantage in gunfights. So always look to play time as a defender and just use your gadgets to their maximum effectiveness, especially Melusi's gadget. And yeah, that's definitely something you want to be doing. And obviously, you don't want to be poorly setting your banshees. Like I said before, you don't want to put them in easy to destroy spots where the Ashe or Zofia can easily take them out. So don't put them in easy to see line of sights. Try to coordinate with that Jaeger Wamai, and you're gonna be golden. Now, when it comes to sort of the end of the round, or if you're in a post-plant scenario, you're Melusi, so you're going to be typically playing that roam style. So you're definitely going to be the best person that can set up for a flank once the attackers have pushed onto site. So if you're in that last 20 to 30 seconds of the round or such, and your banshees are somehow not destroyed already by the attackers, then they're going to be a very powerful intel tool that your teammates and you can take advantage of. You want to be, looking to hit that flank. If you have time, maybe do a little bit of crouch walking so you can be a little bit more stealthy. If you don't have time, then of course you just gotta go right and just look to hit the flank. Line up your shots. Don't rush if you don't need to. Use the banshees, like I said before. You're gonna be able to hear when they're in range, and that's when you want to be swinging on them. Don't be over eager, because once it comes down to that last 20 seconds, all the pressure is on the attackers. They're gonna be trying to take desperate gunfights. They're gonna be feeling all that pressure, and that's when you can strike. And you definitely want to be looking to rotate early if your team is down numbers. You don't want to be playing a deep roam and then a minute in, 3 of your teammates are dead and you're still 2 floors away from the bomb site. You rotate down early if you're down numbers early. That way you can just help out whoever's left on bomb site and try to scavenge what mistakes your teammate may have made. But yeah, that pretty much covers it, guys. Melusi is a very, very strong defender in the meta right now. You can virtually play her on all maps. She's gonna be a good defender to play off of. If you like the roaming playstyle, but you also like helping your teammates with strong utility, then Melusi is definitely the operator for you. I hope you guys really enjoyed this one. This is my first operator guide, like I've said before, so I just really appreciate you guys, taking the time to watch this video. If you made it this far, be sure to leave a like on the video. Consider subscribing for more content just like this one, and I'll see you all next time.